Let me be frank. I find it utterly unconscionable, incomprehensible that any serious believer would vote for a pro-choice, pro-abortion candidate. Absolutely impossible for me to be able to square that with the Word of God. Absolutely impossible. But I want to give you a very unique reason, perhaps that you never considered. I looked up the word Chaldeans because you see Chaldeans mentioned several times in the Word of God, particularly in the Old Testament. The word Chaldeans, if you'll find a good Bible dictionary of proper names, literally means a wandering demon. That's what a Chaldean is. The Chaldeans were a very small nation. Evidently, they were motivated by evil, and they infested the entire known world of that day. I think it's important to remember that Nebuchadnezzar himself was a Chaldean. Nebuchadnezzar, the great ruler of Babylon, was a Chaldean. He was a man motivated by the devil. And when he looked to Israel, the country of God's choice, he told his leaders, when you go there are two things that I want, two things. And if you look at Daniel chapter 1, the first 4 verses, you'll see what they are. Number 1, in verse 2, he wanted the things that have been dedicated to God. Now, if you use the things that have been dedicated to God for yourself, if you steal those things, you are opening yourself, you're opening the door of your life to Satan, to demons. So he took the things that were dedicated to God. Now remember, it's said about Satan that he's come to kill, to steal, to destroy. Here they are stealing the things that have been committed to God. First of all, when they go to the place of God's wealth, to the place where those golden vessels have been dedicated through the sacrificial offerings of the people, those things dedicated to God, they were stolen. And as surely as it was true that they stole things dedicated to God and God brought judgment, so it'll be in your life. The first time that we are aware of somebody using something stolen from God was Eve in the Garden of Eden, when the serpent approached her and said, "You can eat of every tree," God said, "but not that tree. That's my tree." But is that really so? He placed a question in her mind. Satan deceived Eve. But God said, "The day you eat from that tree, you shall surely die." There were some awful consequences. Something else that is dedicated to God is God's money, the tithe, the 10%. If you use that for yourself, you are opening the door to demonic activity. Or the Lord's Day. That's we call Sunday, or the first day of the week. But God doesn't call it that. He calls it the Lord's Day. It is the Lord's Day. It's not Harold's Day, not Mary's Day. It is the Lord's Day. And I see this being stolen all the time as I travel around the nation and I'm preaching. I'll be up on a Sunday morning preparing to go to church and maybe getting a cup of coffee in the dining area of a hotel. And I'll see crowds of children and young people in their softball outfits or basketball or baseball outfits or soccer. They're totally disregarding the Lord's Day. Their parents have chosen to teach their children how to steal something that belongs to God. If you steal something that belongs to God, you're opening the door to demonic activity. The second thing Nebuchadnezzar stole, if you look at verse 4, chapter 1 of Daniel, were the cunning young men, the crafty young men, the innovative young men, the good-looking, healthy young men. He took them captive so that he could teach them the ways of the Chaldeans, that is, the demonic ways. He took them. Now listen, are you listening? When he took these young men, he robbed Israel of its future. Now, we don't take young men captive. We don't take young women captive in our day. But I'll tell you what we do. We kill them in their mother's wombs. We rob the United States of America of its future. How many godly scientists, how many men could have found a cure for cancer? How many outstanding politicians? How many wonderful, inspired men of God and missionaries have we lost? We, like Nebuchadnezzar, though we did it in a different way and are doing it in a different way, we are robbing America of its future. That is opening a door to the devil. You listen to me. When you vote for a candidate that is pro-choice, when you vote for a candidate that is pro-abortion, your hands are bloody. You are robbing America from 20 years and forward into the future from a great, wonderful leader. Some young man, some young woman that could rescue all of us from some dread disease, from some awful political situation, or from the influence of foreign invaders. Yes, you are opening the door to the greatest country that ever lived, the United States of America, to an influx of demonic activity. Nebuchadnezzar the Chaldean, influenced by the devil, thought he could steal from God. He was the leader of the only superpower of its day, Babylon. But God's judgment destroyed it. Today, you open the door by stealing the things God claims as his own. You open the door by killing our future leaders. God will not wink an eye at that. We may be the only superpower in our day, but just like Babylon fell, we will fall. Whatever you do, if you're a serious believer, don't vote for a pro-choice, pro-abortion candidate for any position. This is Evangelist Harold Hunter. If you like these objections that I share with the current social scene and difficult questions concerning them, please vote your pleasure with me by punching the subscribe button at the bottom of this video. I need you to do that. It costs you nothing, but it'll help me immensely. Please, if you want me to continue, and I will, to fight this sordid culture, touch the subscribe button right now. Thank you, and I look forward to being with you again.